Hi everyone, Stephen here at Teach Me Music, and it's great to be back. Hopefully everyone has become better bass players since I've been gone, and if you haven't, don't worry, the journey isn't all about making improvements quickly, it's about making little small steps and you'll obviously get to wherever you're going. So it's great to be back, and this video is about getting instant results from your playing. So it's no pyramid scheme, it's no shortcuts. This isn't the get rich quick kind of video that you might think it might be. Luckily for you guys, it's not. What this is about is getting instant results from every time you pick up this instrument, which hopefully you know is a bass guitar. If you don't, you're probably watching the wrong video, so just make sure that you know what this thing is. So I'm going to give you 5 tips and 5 bits of advice today, and we're going to break them all down together. This should give you really quick instant results from your playing, regardless of whether you're a beginner, whether you're intermediate, or whether you're advanced. So the first tip and the first idea is that you want to have one foot off the cliff. And this is what I'm calling it anyway. So imagine you're on a cliff edge and you've got one foot off and one foot on. Pretty scary business. If you're like a daredevil or like that adventure lifestyle, that probably sounds like your weekend in a nutshell. Awesome. If you're a bit more cautious, that probably sounds like your worst nightmare. When you play bass, that's where you want to be. You want to have one foot in the unknown, one foot off the cliff, one foot that's a bit dangerous, and you want one foot on solid ground where you feel really comfortable. The reason for this is because this is where the improvement is going to be the fastest. So if I take a song, I'm going to play, let's say Another One Bites the Dust. If I can't play that song at all, then I'm completely off the cliff, I'm going to go swimming, I'm literally off into the unknown, and you'd never see me again. Some people in the comments will probably be like, that's an amazing thing, please do, but I'm not. So what you want to do is break the song down into your own level. So if I'm struggling with the rhythm, that's one foot off the cliff because I'm not worrying about the notes. So let's just take the rhythm of Another One Bites the Dust. I'm literally just going to block the whole bass off, and this is the rhythm. Obviously, if you can do that, then both of your feet are on solid ground, you're not learning anything. But you've got to tailor it to your own individual skill set. So if I'm struggling with the notes, just focus on the notes. Super slow, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 3, 0, 5. Even though that doesn't sound like Another One Bites the Dust, because I'm struggling with the notes, that's one foot off the cliff and one foot on solid ground because I'm not playing it at the right speed or the right rhythm. So you're probably getting the general idea. Take what is difficult, just focus on that thing, and then add the rest in afterwards. If you can already play Another One Bites the Dust, like so, you're not learning anything. Both feet are on solid ground. There is no point in doing that unless you're preparing for a gig or you're trying to memorize it. So if this old noggin right up here isn't working, then that's perfect. If you can play it by memory and you can play the whole song, you're not learning anything new. So take a song either that you don't know or take a song that you're struggling with, break down all these individual things, and what you're going to find is that because you're one foot off the cliff, it's a lot easier to break down. So that is the first tip and the first bit of advice today in this lesson. Our second tip and second bit of advice in this lesson today is imagine doing block and interval practice. And I don't mean intervals in terms of music. If you don't know what intervals are, don't worry, you don't need to worry about it. I'm just talking about the literal meaning of block and interval. So interval is where you break things down into small sections and you do them in intervals. So what I mean there is practice a scale for 2 minutes, practice something else for 2 minutes, go back to a scale for 2 minutes, practice something else for 2 minutes. You're breaking it down in a very timetable method. And everyone used to do this at school, college, university, at work. Everyone knows this style of learning. So the other option is block practice. Block practice is where you go, okay, I've got an hour and I'm going to do one thing for that hour. I don't care what happens. I don't care if the phone goes off. I don't care if the house burns down. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to sit here and practice this one thing for an hour. If your house is on fire, please stop watching the video and, go sort that out. Just make sure that you're safe. So the idea is that these are two different learning styles. Block learning and block practice is great if you're learning a song. So say I was learning YYZ or YYZ by Rush. The idea is when I learnt this song, I just went, I'm going to learn as much as I can in an hour. And then I just spent an hour learning this song. So the introduction, when I first learnt this, probably took me about 20 minutes to get right. So the idea is I sat down and did this for 20 minutes until it was perfect. And obviously the song continues after that. That's just the intro. Because it's in a bit of a weird time signature, it took me a little bit of time to learn that. That is block practice. Whereas if I'm learning scales, I will do a scale literally for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll do something else, and then I'll come back to the scale later to see if I remember it. So when I learned how to do this, which is a major scale from A in 2 octaves, I did that for 2 minutes and then came back to it later. What you want to do is you want to play to your own strengths. You want to make sure that you're doing things that make sense to you. So if you hate block practice, just because some guru and some god on YouTube who you admire as a bass player says you should do that, don't do it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work. If you would rather do interval practice, do that. Playing bass is a very unique thing. The idea is there's multiple different ways to achieve the same goal. So imagine me, interval practice is very, very skinny me. I haven't been skinny for a long time. And block practice is very, very, very wide and very stretched out me, which is basically what's happening because this is filmed just after Christmas. I've put some weight on, always good. So just try and do both, see what happens, and that is our second tip and second bit of advice. So our third bit of advice and tip for this lesson is you want to challenge yourself. And what this means is challenge yourself in any way, shape or form. It could be mental, it could be endurance, it could be physical, it could be your concentration. The idea is that if you know that you're lacking in a certain area, just try and focus on that one thing. So if I know that I can't play bass for 10 minutes solid without getting tired, because that's quite a long time, I can set a timer on my phone, do 10 minutes of just solid practice, doing anything, and because I'm playing bass guitar for 10 minutes solid, I'm obviously testing my endurance. I'm challenging myself. So the idea is you want your concentration face out, and as long as your concentration face isn't putting anybody else off in the room, then you should be absolutely fine. So just as a quick example, one thing that I always challenge myself with is trying to see how fast I can get from 0 to 12 all the way across the string. So although I've done this before, the idea is my challenge is just to see how fast I can keep doing this without making a mistake. Gets a bit blurry towards the end. So the idea is that is challenging myself in just a very small way, but because I'm trying to just add little kind of stupid challenges here and there, and they could be daily challenges, they could be weekly, they could be monthly. Just do it every now and again just to break it up. It's almost like playing a game. Everyone likes playing video games, especially when they're younger, and then as you get older, you don't have the time to do it. I don't have time to play video games anymore. I wish I did. But the idea is that because they're challenging and because they're quite fun, you end up doing all these different levels, all these different tasks. Try and incorporate that into bass guitar and you'll see massive improvement and instant results pretty quickly. So our fourth tip or bit of advice for this lesson is that you want to be your own personal guru and your own personal motivational speaker, so to speak. And what I mean by that is I don't want you to fill your head full of nonsense. I don't want you to try and pitch this pyramid scheme kind of stuff that we all know about. What I want you to do is find something that gives you motivation and positive vibes. So if that's looking at your favorite bass player, go and do that. If it's going to a gig, go and do that. If it's listening to your favorite album, go and put that on, chill out for however long that is, come back to the bass guitar afterwards. Try and just find things that are going to motivate you to want to pick this thing up. We all have good days, we all have bad days, but if you want instant results, you need to get your mindset into the same way as you're playing, which means you need your mindset to be in line with what you want to do with the instrument. If you pick the instrument up and you have no idea what you're doing and you're just going, obviously you're not doing anything. You're not going to get instant results because the instant result is that sounds like gibberish. If you listen to your favorite album, so say your favorite album was Red Hot Chili Peppers, for whatever example, if you then picked the bass up and went, I want to play like that, then you could easily learn to go, you could end up playing like that bass player. So go keep a list. It can be on your phone, it can be on paper. Just keep a list of the things that motivate you when you're having a bit of a down day, and then that way, this is still more fun and you'll get instant results very, very, very quickly. So that was just a little bit of a snippet from a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. You don't necessarily have to go and learn songs, just go find something that makes you want to pick this thing up, that's all. So that is our fourth tip for this lesson. So our fifth tip and bit of advice for this lesson and final one, the video is almost over, hopefully you're still awake. So the idea with the last one is you should reward yourself. Seems really, really simple, seems really basic, but if you're going to put a lot of time and effort into this instrument, sometimes it can be difficult. Sometimes it can get stressful. So if the motivational stuff isn't helping, set yourself up a reward. And I don't mean please don't go and buy a £4,000 bass just because I told you to reward yourself. If you're living with someone, they will kick you out instantly. If you use your mum and dad's credit card, you will be disowned for life. Do not do it. The idea is small rewards. So you could have a weekly reward, a monthly reward, a daily reward if you've been really, really good. It could be something as simple as your favorite foods. It can be going somewhere on a journey, so almost like a kind of small holiday kind of thing. So let's just say I practiced Monday to Friday, 4 hours every day, which is not going to happen, but just say I did it. The idea is when I get to Saturday and Sunday, the weekend, I could go, you know what, I actually did a lot of things this week, so I'm going to take Saturday and Sunday completely off. I'm going to go out somewhere, I'm going to have a little bit of an adventure, I could go, watch a film, I could go to a gig. It could literally be anything. But the idea is that you want to reward yourself. It could be as simple as a donut, as simple as that. Try and find what works for you. Try and find something that will motivate you if you can't motivate yourself. External rewards are a great thing as long as they're controlled. So I don't want you to go and buy all shiny new gear because it'll look amazing. Everyone on YouTube will love you because you've got the newest bass. It looks so cool and everyone will think you're an amazing bass player. But if you're not practicing this thing, then you're not going to be able to play it. So small bite-sized rewards are going to massively help you out. So when I finished learning YYZ or YYZ by Rush, I had to do that because I was doing it for college. But what I ended up doing then was I took the weekend off after my assessment was finished and I didn't do anything musical. And that seems like a really weird reward to give yourself, but the idea is it gave me a break. And then the following Monday, I was back on it, doing all the things that I had to do, getting back into bass playing, getting back into music. So just see what works for you. All of these tips are meant to be tailored to you as an individual. So if your best friend says, oh, I watched that video too, and I went and brought this fancy cool thing, then you do not have to. Do not break yourself and do not break the bank just because you need to reward yourself. Find a nice, simple solution. So that is our 5th and final tip for this video. If you do all of these things, coupled with practicing the right things, then you will have instant results in your playing, regardless of how long you've been playing bass. So, if you found these 5 tips and bits of advice really useful today, let us know down in the comments. And because there's definitely more than 5 that you can use to motivate yourself, and there's other ways that you can get instant results, let us know down in the comments if you've got your own that work for you. These are just my 5 personal ones that I use quite a lot. If you've liked this video, go and click subscribe down below and make sure to stick around and follow Teach Me Music TV. We've got loads of content coming and you'll definitely be learning some pretty cool stuff in terms of bass guitar. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again next time.